Hello and welcome to House News. In this episode, we present you the latest information coming from the House of Representatives of Indonesia. And now let's see the headlines for today. BKSAP reaffirms its commitment to the upcoming Asia-Pacific Dialogue for Palestine. In collaboration with the MUI, BKSAP will use the forum to express solidarity and support for Palestinian independence. BKSAP held a meeting with Pelita Harapan University to discuss diplomacy in protecting Indonesian citizens, strengthening the role of the government in international labor disputes and issues. BKSAP focused on protecting Indonesia's growth and aligning foreign policy with the people's interests. During a recent working visit to Batam and Bintan regions, Commission 5 reviewed the progress of the Batam-Bintan Bridge project. Bank Indonesia has launched a sandbox trial for quick response called Indonesian Standards or KRIS payments with South Korea. Through the Asia-Pacific Conference for Palestine, strengthening the alliance to defend Palestine, BKSAP, together with various institutions and communities, seek to enhance regional unity and broaden support for the Palestinian cause.
Chairperson of BKSAP of the House Mardani Alisera stated, the Indonesian House is ready to support efforts to strengthen Indonesia's solidarity with Palestine. This initiative builds on earlier civil society movements, including the Palestine Solidarity Month and the International Conference on Palestine.
Palestina ada di hati kita, bukan cuma di ruangan tapi di lapangan juga ya, demonya juga, larinya juga gitu. Kalau acara Asia Pacific Conference, Asia Pacific Dialogue for Palestine, Synergy of Research and Diplomacy ini, diplomasinya ada di MUI, tapi pada saat yang sama kami di Badan Kerjasama Antar Parlemen sangat open bagi teman-teman filantropi ataupun NGO yang lain untuk kerjasama. Selain Aqsa Working Group yang bikin Bulan Saudara Palestina, juga Palestine Research Center. Nah, yang bareng sama yang awal datang malah Palestine Research Center lebih dahulu, baru kemudian Prof, tapi dua-duanya nyambung.
Furthermore, Mardani hoped the collaborations between parliament, religious institutions, and civil society would strengthen Indonesia's positions in supporting Palestine independence on the international stage. He emphasized BKSAP continues to promote humanity-based diplomacy while ensuring solidarity is not just a symbolic, but realized through real and continuous actions. Tegar Aziz, TVA Parlemen reports.
BKSAP is committed to reviewing labor laws to address emerging challenges, including the digital nomad phenomenon. Discussion with academics can contribute to formulating comprehensive protection for Indonesian migrant workers at all stages.
Vice Chairperson of BKSAP of the House Bramantio Suwondo mentioned, the protections of Indonesian migrant workers requires a comprehensive legal framework. Therefore, he emphasized the Parliament must ensure the labor law is capable of addressing current challenges, including providing protections for flexible workers.
Tadi yang dimasukkan juga adalah mengenai hadirnya fenomena digital nomad ataupun pekerja yang mana mereka bisa kerja dimanapun. Itu tentunya kita harus melihat apakah undang-undang kita bisa menjaga untuk juga memberikan proteksi bagi tenaga kerja kita.
Meanwhile, the rector of Pelita Harapan University emphasized, educational institutions are always ready to support the House efforts in drafting legislations. He added Pelita Harapan has involved professors from various relevant sectors to provide insights.
Para profesor kita yang memang punya minat dan keahlian terkait dengan aspek-aspek perundang-undangan termasuk hal-hal yang kita bicarakan tadi. Sehingga mudah-mudahan anggota DPR ya merasa bahwa para ahli kami siap berkontribusi ya untuk penyusunan undang-undang ataupun peraturan-peraturan ke depan.
Additionally, BKSAP expects the outcome of these discussions will lead to a comprehensive revisions of labor laws. The revision will protect Indonesian workers throughout all stages of employment and include specific provisions to address the needs and challenges due to the rise of digital nomads. From Banten, Vincent Aldi, TVR Parliament reports.
BKSAP explores improving legal protection for Indonesian migrant workers, considering large majority and global distribution. BKSAP plans to strengthen international agreements and legal frameworks to protect workers' safety and welfare.
Vice Chairperson of BKSAP of the House Bramantio Suwondo highlighted protecting Indonesian migrant workers as contributors to national foreign exchange requires a holistic approach, covering physical and mental well-being. Enhancing this protection is needed for Indonesian migrant workers to improve their contributions to national and global economic development.
Tentunya dengan skala populasi kita yang banyak, pastinya kita memiliki banyak sekali pekerja migran Indonesia dari skilled maupun unskilled yang mereka hadir di berbagai macam negara, yaitu negara maju, negara berkembang, dan sebagainya. Tentunya banyak sekali yang perlu kita perjuangkan di tingkatan diplomasi, kiranya suatu perjanjian ataupun juga hukum mengenai perlindungan dari pekerja migran yang perlu kita tingkatkan lebih lanjut dan juga kita perjuangkan.
Furthermore, BKSAP concluded the input from academics will form the basis for promoting more effective diplomatic cooperations. By improving international agreements and legal framework, it is expected Indonesian migrant workers will receive better physical and psychological protections, allowing them to work in safe and productive environments. From Banten, Vincent Aldi, TVR Parliament reports.
After the break, we have the latest updates on the creative economy, only on House News. Commission 5 urged accelerating the Batam-Bintan Bridge construction as part of a national strategic infrastructure initiative. The project will strengthen inter-island connectivity and support economic development in the Riau Islands.
Commission 5 of the House visited Batam and Bintan to monitor the Batam-Bintan Bridge project. The bridge is designed to promote spatial economic zones and also improve Indonesia's competitiveness along international shipping routes. Vice Chairperson of Commission 5 of the House, Andi Iwan Darmawan Ara stated, the Batam-Bintan Bridge can be used to link to potential economic centers in western Indonesia. He added, situated along Indonesia's archipelagic sea lane, Batam holds a strategic positions to compete with Singapore in the global logistic and trade sectors.
Kita berharap bahwa Batam bisa mengambil peran dalam pelayaran internasional, bagaimana agar Indonesia sendiri bisa memberikan layanan yang bisa mengimbangi layanan yang diberikan oleh Singapura. Kita berharap kita punya potensi yang sangat besar di negara kita. Singapura wilayahnya begitu kecil, kita wilayahnya begitu besar.
In addition to focusing on the Batam-Bintan project, Andi highlighted the importance of infrastructure development in Indonesia's outermost regions, such as Natuna Regency. He pointed out improving connectivity in border areas can promote equitable development while strengthening national sovereignty. Commission 5 remains committed to overseeing the accelerations of strategic infrastructure development in the Riau Island. These projects will bring direct benefits to the public and boost Indonesia's role in the regional maritime sectors. From Batam, Alfredo Tahapari, TVR Parliament reports.
In a working visit to Denpasar Natural Resources Conservation Center, Commission 4 requested stronger support for local community-involved conservation programs to protect endemic wildlife and improve public welfare around forest zones.
Commission 4 appreciated the repatriations of the red-breasted parakeet, an Indonesian endemic species, carried out through cooperations between the Indonesian and UK governments. These repatriations was an opportunity to improve conservation's governance to be more effective and sustainable. Vice Chairperson of Commission 4 of the House Alex Indra Lukman explained, wildlife repatriations should not happen again, as it indicates weaknesses in domestic conservation efforts.
Jenis hewan yang memang endemik di tanah air. Nah, oleh karena itu dalam diskusi tadi kita menghasilkan 3 poin kesimpulan. Yang pertama adalah penyempurnaan regulasi, kedua penangkaran yang melibatkan masyarakat, dan yang ketiga pendataan dengan pemanfaatan teknologi sehingga kita bisa mendata seluruh jenis satwa terutama yang dilindungi dan langka tentang keberadaannya.
Additionally, Alex mentioned wildlife conservation cannot be separated from the welfare of communities living around forest areas. These efforts must operate alongside one another to reduce land disputes that could damage wildlife habitats. Commission 4 demands synergy between the government, communities, and the private sectors in protecting endemic wildlife and their habitats. This collaboration is expected to create a sustainable conservation model supporting people's welfare. From Denpasar, Bali, Handoko, TVR Parliament reports.
Commission 7 highlighted the potential of Indonesia's animation and creative sectors to boost GDP and jobs. The Commission urged the government to strengthen its support for this industry to make innovation and enhance national competitiveness.
During a visit to Infinite Studios located in the Nongsa Special Economic Zone, Batam, member of Commission 7 of the House, Novita Hardini mentioned, the film sector covering animations and live actions has potential to showcase Indonesia's cultural richness to global audiences. However, it still faces challenges, especially high productions. Therefore, the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy is expected to provide subsidies and support to encourage creative industry in Indonesia.
Infinite studio ini bisa menghasilkan ribuan karya yang berskala global, di mana partner-partnernya itu juga udah dari beberapa negara di luar sana dan juga menyerap tenaga kerja yang banyak dari industri ekonomi kreatif ini, kurang lebih 2.500 tenaga kerja. Jadi kedatangan kami bersama dengan seluruh rekan-rekan Komisi 7 dan juga Kementerian Ekraf melihat sendiri bagaimana industri kreatif ini menjadi penopang ekonomi nasional kita di masa depan.
Furthermore, Novita pointed out Indonesia needs a supportive budget to develop the growth of the creative economy and strengthen its ability to compete internationally. The increasing economic contributions of the creative sectors cannot be underestimated. It is a space for creative expression and as a job provider for Indonesia's young creative generations. From Batam, Gunarso, TVR Parliament reports.
When we return, we have information on Indonesian Kris is acknowledged in many countries. So stay tuned to House News. Bank Indonesia launched a cross-border Kris sandbox with South Korea to promote digital payment innovation, enhance financial connectivity, and expand digital financial inclusion through innovation and collaboration.
Bank Indonesia has started testing the use of Quick Response Indonesia Standard or Kris cross-border with South Korea at the 2025 Indonesia Digital Economy Festival and Indonesia FinTech Summit and Expo in Jakarta. The sandbox launch was witnessed by South Korean Deputy Ambassador, who welcomed the initiative as it will make transactions easier for South Koreans visiting Indonesia and vice versa. With the launch of the Kris cross-border trial, the payment system between the two countries can now be easier and more efficient. The Indonesian government continues to promote digital adoptions by expanding the use of cross-border Kris. government plans to expand in conducting CRIS cross-border cooperations with other countries in the future. Among them are India and Saudi Arabia. The cross-border CRIS has been implemented with Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Japan, and China. Bank Indonesia committed to expanding cross-border digital payment system to facilitate financial transactions, especially for tourism and trade activities. CRIS has become one of the key pillars of Indonesia's digital economy. The payment system now has more than 57 million users nationwide, including 40 million small and medium enterprises.
Transjakarta introduced Indonesia's first domestically produced electric buses. These buses have passed all technical and safety standards and now ready to serve passengers across Transjakarta's roads.
Jakarta is launching a new fleet of electric buses for its public transportation system. A local company, Laksana Bus Manufaktur in Ungaran, Central Java, built these buses and has already delivered several units. Previously, Transjakarta operated several imported electric buses from China. However, this year marks an important milestone. For the first time ever, locally manufactured electric buses will hit the streets of the capital. Several units have already arrived in Jakarta and are currently undergoing trial. Runs on Corridor 2A with route Pulau Gadung, Rawabuaya. In the initial phase, 80 locally made electric buses are targeted to serve the public by the end of 2025. The introduction of this fleet is expected to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and lower air pollution, which remains a major challenge in the capital. Beyond environmental benefits, domestic productions of electric buses also opens new economic opportunities. From developing vehicle components and enhancing workforce skills to building a clean energy-based transportation ecosystem. The project doesn't stop in Jakarta. Laksana Bus hopes it will open the way for expanding electric buses to other cities in Indonesia. There is big potential for using eco-friendly vehicles, especially in areas improving their public transport system. This initiative aims to cut carbon emissions, reduce operational costs, and inspire more people to choose clean, modern, and sustainable public transport.
OneX Technology announced the launch of Neo, the world's first consumer-ready humanoid robot designed to transform life at home. Neo automates everyday chores and offers personalized assistance.
A humanoid robot called Neo, developed by a California AI company, has drawn attention for its advanced design and capabilities. This humanoid robot is said to be capable of assisting with household chores and even serving as a personal assistant. In addition, Neo can receive voice or app-based commands to perform simple tasks such as opening door, turning on lights, or fetching items. Neo is more than just an automated machine. Equipped with artificial intelligence, the robot is designed to learn from user habits and adapt to daily needs. This robot looks very much like a real person. It moves smoothly and has simple but expressive features, making it seem almost alive. Countries around the world are currently developing robot technology. In Japan, there's Pepper, a robot capable of breathing and interacting with humans socially, while South Korea has developed Eva, a service robot designed to assist customers in restaurants or hotels. Meanwhile, in Europe, the humanoid robot trend is gaining attention as developers focus on robots for caregiving and elderly companionship. From simple tools, robots have now evolved into interactive companions capable of understanding human habits. is not impossible. In just a few years, robots will become a common presence in everyday life, helping, interacting, and perhaps even becoming a friend at home.
And that's House News for today. Thank you for watching everyone and have a good day.